Hi everyone, I'm Cassie. Thanks for joining me this week for a new story. Today I'm going to be reading Little Red Riding Hood. It's illustrated by Jessica Zemsky, and this was published in 1961. So let's get started. Once upon a time there was a little girl whose mother made her a red hood and cape to match. Everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, Red Riding Hood smelled something baking in the kitchen. "I'm making fresh bread for grandmother," said her mother. "The wood chopper stopped by this morning to tell me that she is ill." "I'll take it to grandmother," said Red Riding Hood. "I know the way." And so Little Red Riding Hood found a pretty basket. Her mother packed it with fresh bread, butter, honey, and 2 shiny apples. She covered the goodies with a clean white napkin. "Now, my dear," said Little Red Riding Hood's mother, "go straight to grandmother's house. Don't stop to play or talk to anyone on the way." Little Red Riding Hood blew a kiss and waved goodbye to her mother. She skipped through the winding path that led through the forest. "Isn't it a lovely day?" she asked the pretty butterfly. "Yes, it is," agreed a friendly voice. Little Red Riding Hood jumped in surprise. There in the path stood a big gray wolf. "Where are you going this lovely day?" asked the wolf. The wolf looked as friendly as a big gray dog, so Little Red Riding Hood smiled and said, "I'm taking some goodies to my grandmother who is ill, and now I must hurry along." "Let me carry your heavy basket," said the wolf. "Are you going far? Where does your grandmother live?" "She lives in the cottage on the other side of the forest," said Red Riding Hood. "Wouldn't your grandmother like some of these flowers?" asked the wolf. "Of course she would," said Red Riding Hood. "They'll make her feel better." And she began to pick the blossoms that grew near the path. She was so busy that she did not see the wolf put down the baskets and slip quietly away. Little Red Riding Hood did not know that while she picked flowers, the wolf was running through the woods to her grandmother's cottage. When the wolf reached the cottage, he knocked on the door. "Who's there?" called grandmother from her bed inside the house. "It's Little Red Riding Hood," answered the wolf in a sweet voice. "I've brought a basket of goodies to make you feel better." "Lift the latch, dear," said grandmother, "and come right in." But when grandmother saw the wolf, she jumped out of bed and ran out of the house. "Help!" she screamed, "the wolf!" The wolf picked up grandmother's nightcap, which had fallen to the floor. He found one of her nightgowns in a bureau drawer. Quickly, he dressed himself in the clothes and hopped into bed, pulling the covers around him. How easy it would be to catch Little Red Riding Hood now. Soon the wolf heard a tapping at the door. "Who is it?" he called in a squeaky voice. "It's Little Red Riding Hood, grandmother," called Red Riding Hood. "I've brought some little things for you." "Lift the latch, dear, and come right in," called the wolf in a weak voice. Little Red Riding Hood opened the door and ran to her grandmother's bed. "I've brought you some fresh bread and butter and honey and apples," she said. "But grandmother—" "What is it, dear?" said the wolf. "You look so strange," said Red Riding Hood. "What big eyes you have, grandmother." "The better to see you, my dear," said the old wolf sweetly. Little Red Riding Hood stared. "Oh," she said, "what big ears you have." "The better to hear you, my dear," said the wolf. "But grandmother," said the child, "your teeth, what big teeth you have." "The better to eat you," snarled the wicked old wolf, and out of bed he leaped. Red Riding Hood screamed. Just then the door opened, and there stood the wood chopper. Behind him was grandmother. When the wolf saw the wood chopper, he yelped in fright. He ran out through the door with the wood chopper right behind him. Soon the wood chopper returned. "We won't have to worry about that old wolf anymore," he said cheerfully. Then they all sat down and had tea and fresh bread and butter and honey. It was a happy occasion, for they knew that the wicked wolf would never bother them again. So that was the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Thanks for joining me this week. I hope you enjoyed the story. Come back next Sunday for a new story. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and be kind. Bye.